You guessed it, another edition of MTA Queensland's weekly newsletter. This week's got some important information around the changing legislation and laws in our country. First up, industrial relations. Of course, the closing the loophole legislation continues to evolve. This week's edition talks about the right to disconnect provisions and when they come into effect, and noting that for small business, they don't come into effect till 2025. There's also important information there around changing casual employment conditions and other industrial relations. Please have a look. Any questions, give our fantastic industrial relations team a call. In other news, national frameworks, MTAA and SCAI have released their report, the outlook into the recycling of end-of-life vehicles. Really important information about where we are at as a country around end-of-life recycling. And of course, that also points to what else needs to be done to improve this really important part of the sustainability of the automotive industry. Again, really worth a read, have a look. In other national frameworks, AMBRA have released a really important guide. It's a guide for using non-genuine parts in the collision industry. It's got some real clarification around the legal rights of our collision industry members. Again, worth a look. It's all about making sure you're really well informed about this changing national landscape. I guess other news in terms of the national landscape, new motor vehicle sales. It's continuing to be a very resilient industry. Over 98,000 vehicles sold in August. That's an astounding number. It's the second largest sales recorded since in history. Now noting that's still, because last year was the record, so it's a 10% reduction compared to last year, but last year was a 13% increase from the previous year. So that might tell us last year's the outlier and this year's more like a normal number. Notwithstanding that, it's a fantastic number. Australians are continuing to show their preferences. 57% of sales are in the SUV area. Interesting. In terms of the hit list, Toyota continues to lead the sales, followed by Ford, Mazda. In terms of vehicles, RAV4 has now positioned itself in terms of the August figures as Australia's leading car in terms of car sales, followed by the Ford Ranger, which continues to perform well. There's also with some information in this week's newsletter around Auto Women. We're really, really proud of that. It's growing. It's growing in influence. Members are coming to our functions held around the state. This week's newsletter includes some information around the next round of scholarships. We'd love to get your application. We really want to support the industry. In other news, we've got a fantastic relationship with a partner, of course, Officeworks. Fantastic deals for members. We're getting reports from members about some fantastic savings they're experiencing. That's fine. More importantly, Officeworks, as part of their commitment, are going to be reaching out to you. They'll reach out to members in the coming weeks. You'll get a phone call from them, really just saying, hi, this is who we are. Have you read the deal? Can we help you any further? A really, really good commitment. I encourage you to listen to them. It's not a dodgy call. Hence why I'm telling you, it's worth listening, and perhaps, who knows, you might be able to save yourself some money. Of course, we've got our annual golf day this week as well. I'm looking forward to talking to you next week about how that went and who the winners are. Have a fantastic weekend.